Hi, everyone. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about my story, sharing some poetry, and I'm excited to be here with you all today. San Jose, Costa Rica, the city where I opened my eyes for the first time on this earth. Soon enough, at the age of 3, Los Estados Unidos de América became mi nueva casa, my new home. At a young age, I understood that I was different from my friends, that my family had come a very long way, and that the place that I called home was not always home to them. I learned English in kindergarten because I hated feeling like I was behind, and I had a really mean teacher. It was in the little things like my mom's choice of supermarket that I knew that we were different from my amigos estadounidenses, which is Spanish for United States friends. Translating for my mom at the hospital when I was in 3rd grade after her second open heart surgery was a completely normal thing. You see, it was a matter of life or death for me to be available and prepared to help my parents. It wasn't a choice to grow up defending them, so I grew up fast. I felt proud every time I could fluently communicate to my parents what adults were trying to say to them as a kid, and vice versa. I felt like I was bringing dignity every time that I could ensure that my parents' needs were heard or that anything that they were trying to communicate wasn't misunderstood. Immigrant children grow up being defenders of the honor of their families, many times growing up with leader qualities because of extremely anxiety-filling experiences. I knew that my leader qualities I knew that my mom worried because she feared not being able to help me enough with school work. Shortly after beginning 1st grade, I began helping my younger sister with her homework and then my younger brother. Being the oldest of 3, I've grown up being prepared to clear the way for my siblings, wanting to make my parents' sacrifice of migrating to this country worth it. My little brother was born here and my sister and I were not, so this has also given me a stronger consciousness of the broader immigration system. Speaking out about being undocumented meant that my family would be exposed. At first, I felt selfish, wondering whether or not sharing would do more good than harm, wondering whether it would do my community a disservice to have me speaking out, while perhaps many of them would never speak out. An opportunity came to share our personal stories before the New Jersey Senate. When I was 17 years old, though, I interviewed the president of Costa Rica, and I got invited to work with his presidential administration on issues relative to DACA. Now, fast forward, I decided to come forward as undocumented publicly before my home state Senate, and then was part of a national lawsuit against the Trump administration for rescinding DACA. This federal lawsuit won. I cannot believe we won. I decided to be a part of this action, and we won against the federal government in favor of the immigrant community. When I shared my story, lo hice con coraje. I did it with courage, strength of all of the people in my community that came before me. Story sharing to me became an act of revolution. No one can take my story from me. Nadie me puede robar mi historia. That was my thought process. I felt that it was my duty to express that being undocumented was so many more things that we saw on media. When talking about my perspective, I always emphasize that no one else would ever be able to tell my story better than me, but that just as equally, I would never be able to speak on behalf of all undocumented people. Talking out loud about my legal status was supposed to feel chaotic, but instead I felt on fire. Fire that stemmed from deep anger for all of the people who might have struggled to express their feelings in the English language before a system that consistently looks for them to validate and prove their worthiness. I landed in San Diego before the pandemic to particularly work to build an avenue of support that recognized the existing work and community, including youth organizers and natives of the largest migration border in the United States. The power of the media is crucial. Every meeting I had, I was reminded that immigration is not a new issue. All of the older organizers I learned from teach with deep wisdom and passion because the system is the one they also worked against in their youth. And now it's our turn. This same year, I ran for president of a national youth movement and was the first undocumented elect. Never in a lifetime did I imagine that I would possibly be elected for a national seat, helping lead next generation change makers across America on how we can best support our local communities. I applied, I prayed, I hoped, yet I automatically told myself it would not happen. 2 weeks later, I got a call. Sara, you have been elected the national president. I could not believe my ears because I thought it was a mistake. But I quickly learned that the mistake was never me being elected, but spaces not inviting a low-income community college student earlier into these spaces. As young people, as leaders in any space, it is crucial to learn how much the immigration system has been creating impact, life-changing circumstances for our families and individuals for centuries. Be an ally by uplifting the voices of undocumented people and immigrants that do share their story, but also by being a voice that reminds those that already feel vulnerable that you are there just to make them feel heard, even if they don't want to speak about it publicly. And it's undocumented, not illegal. We can absolutely change the world. As immigrants, we are known for being largely low income and undereducated, and are also more likely to have our lives disrupted by extreme weather events and other adverse effects of climate change. Addressing climate change and poverty on a global scale will help stabilize immigration flows from undeveloped countries. Immigrants, our communities, are disproportionately hurt by the dirty energy economy and face unique environmental changes. My story and my passion for storytelling and speaking has led me to seeing what we all have in common. I would walk into rooms where I was the first Latina. And the first undocumented. I knew there were places I spoke at that those listening had never imagined or even considered an undocumented speaker. Being a first generation Latina for me has meant speaking even when my voice trembles, not taking no for an answer, because no does not mean never. No does not mean never. No does not mean never. Learning English meant I walked into rooms believing that whatever it was seemed too wild of a dream was my ancestors' wildest dreams. Our stories, your story, is a wild dream blooming in front of the present. When you exclude yourself from the table, you have to be the one to also invite yourself. Say it with me. It is an honor for them to have me at the table. A little louder. It is an honor for them to have me at the table. Some words of clear advice: be you. There will be days where your goals will seem larger than life, but know that you are not too small for what you dream. Your voice may shake or tremble, but that is not a sign that your voice is not mighty. Great things take time, and there's nothing wrong with your story or with you. You are simply walking into a world that is filled with ups and downs. But the race of life is only best lived when you do it aware that you are wonderfully and fearfully made. That your purpose in life is no joke, yet that laughing through the journey is a vision well begun. So envision yourself as not only being of purpose, but of one that is deserving of joy. Your smile, your laugh is your friend. Yet on the days where joy is absent, give yourself the room to exist as is. You are all equal parts deserving, even when the days aren't so pretty, even when no one looks like you in the room, even when you do not feel you deserve to dream. You are the dream, and with this, I share my poem, The Audacity to Dream. Written having the dream one day to be a speaker and storyteller and to do the work I do. I tell you today, yes, today, the day has arrived. Sit down, make yourself comfortable. The day you were born, the day you were born, a great spark was born from the audacity of sounding. Whatever your dream was, even in the middle of the complicated, you were there. You, yes. If you feel that when I say you is for you, that's the point. You. You deserve to get up because when you were born, purpose was born, a dream was born, a humble and creative soul was born, either in Costa Rica, in El Salvador, maybe Nicaragua, wherever your country is, you were born, and now you are here. And I am a messenger, coming with so much to tell you. I tell you, you deserve to sound. You deserve to have the audacity to believe in your dreams, the untold stories of our families, the people we love so much and that are so important, and your story too. Let me tell you about the audacity of sounding. The audacity is in those moments in which one imagines a reality that is not their own. Let me explain. It's like that time that celebrity that you like has an event and you imagine that you are the person they invite to the stage. Except that stage is your life and you are the one being called to live audaciously. I knew the audacity of sounding very little through Selena's songs. It is that moment in which with a song you close your eyes and you transport yourself to a place. The audacity to believe a moment to exist in another reality. The audacity of sounding is a rainbow that during the rain of life begins to come out suddenly. The audacity of sounding is ours. You can sound. I want you to close your eyes and sound. Don't let anything stop you. And say with me in your mind, no one can take my story. No one can steal my audacity to dream, Mi audacidad de soñar, because you were born with it. Did you know that when you were born, you were a literal miracle? That means that at each step of your lineage, the probability that the correct sperm will meet the correct egg so that the exact correct ancestor would eventually create it is exactly 400 billion. And even when you stop, remember that you are worthy of the audacity to sound, because you are magic. You are bright. Like the stars and the full moon, the audacity to sound exists for you. Our stories encapsulated moments in the expanse, in the width of the universe, little lights. We are the lights of life that run daily. So if you ever wonder your purpose, I want you to remember that you are one of the bold. That's why you are here. And you arrived with the gift of the audacity to sound. I come to tell you that sonar is your right. Constantly existing with the belief that you are not a limited being is your right. Your story is your weapon. Being born, the action that empowers you to have the audacity. You are not what politicians name you. You are not what the government says about you. You are audacious because you are here today. So it sounds, dreamer, and get ready because you are bold and dreams can be true. So I'm going to end with this before the challenge. And it's called The Power of Our Story. My story is my weapon. Hashtag undocumented and unafraid. My voice is my story, just like we all have a story. Except in this story, I use mine to disrupt the standard status quo on what it means to be a young undocumented immigrant. At 16, I questioned my principle on what existed to help my community. I believed in the power of my story. I went on to believe in the power of my story way past high school onto my first job. But the story doesn't end, because fast forward to 5 years later, I got the chance to share my story alongside companies I would have never dreamed of working with. Levi's, Adobe, MTV News, Reebok, and many more. But the more meaningful part is that I got to stay true and real to the story that I represent. That I am undocumented and unafraid, and that even in the days I'm afraid, it's okay. Thank you. Whew. Okay, so now, outside of this that I've shared with you, I'd like to share a challenge question, okay? So how many of you guys have woken up and had a really bad dream? Raise your hand. Like horrible, like you're like crying or you're like calling your mom, your sister, your brother, yes or no? Yes, can you say yes out loud? Okay, right, that's horrible. Have you ever had a really good dream where you're like, can I go back to sleep and go back to that dream? Right, that happens to me a lot and it actually works. Sometimes I do go back to the dream. Anyway, that's not what I'm gonna be talking about. I'm gonna ask you guys to write, what is your dream? What is a dream you have? Like, do you wanna be a famous singer? Do you wanna be a hairstylist? Are you really passionate about drawing? What is your dream? Do you wanna change a law that has been in place for way too long? You're like, OMG, I can't believe this law is real. Do you really wanna see a new show come out, another season of your favorite show? Whatever it is, write down your dream right now. And then next to that, you're gonna write, or actually below it, you're gonna write, what is one thing you can do to walk closer to that dream? What is your dream, and what is one thing you can do to walk closer to that dream?
Resources and everything, so that we can kind of maybe like make like a brighter or like cleaner future for like future generations and everything, because I love winter and I never want to see that go away. So I feel like if we can kind of stray away from like those fossil fuels, like the greenhouse gases, then we can like really kind of hold together like a better and brighter future for like generations to come, hopefully, with like energy resources, because that's like the key to everything that we do and use every day. So here's to that.
Yeah, I think another thing that I could do to help achieve my goal of like happiness is to not like dwell on the things that I consider like mistakes in my life, so I can continue to like move forward and grow as a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. Being an artist, one of the things that you have to do is learn from your mistakes. And even if that means like going back through your incredibly embarrassing sketches that you did when you were like 5, you can always learn something from that, whether that be like, I now know how to practice anatomy better, or I know color better. It all helps you be better.
You guys hear me? Okay, cool. Okay, so who's ready to share their dream? Okay, with the blue sweater, yeah.
My name is Dali. I come from Steinmetz, and my dream is to be an art teacher.
An art teacher?
Mhm.
Okay. And what is one thing you're doing to walk closer to that?
Actually, right now I'm practicing by making a portfolio for my art class for IBDP, and it's going pretty well. I just need to figure out different ways to express my art and show it to other people because I feel like that's where my limit lies. You
Mhm.
know.
And what's your name?
Dalinette.
Dali? Okay, can I have a round of applause for her, please? Okay, who else wants to share their dream and what they're doing to walk closer to it? Right here. Yep.
It's not on? Oh, it's on. Hi. My name's Sloan, and my dream is I want to fight for domestic abuse survivors in the courtroom. And one thing I'm doing to get closer to that is applying to colleges and working on everything to do with law.
And what's your name?
Sloan.
Sloan, everybody, round of applause. Okay, who else wants to share their dream? Okay.
So my name is Max. So one of my big things, I come from Puerto Rico, so I'm really big about advocating for Latinos. And in school, essentially, if I relate out something that is like a giant stereotype that has happened in my life, I want to keep on bringing awareness to that we are all human. We all bleed the same red blood that we all have, and that we all have different cultures and different aspects of our lives that we want to keep on bringing out, so that everyone gets a taste of, oh, over here in India we have this, or over here in Russia we have this, and it's like this blending of cultures. I want to like continue to build upon that. It's a beautiful thing to have when so many people learn around and have that continuity.
Of course. So what's your name?
Max.
Okay, round of applause for Max. Okay, anybody, who else wants to share their dream? Okay.
Hi, I'm Stella. My dream is a bit more vague than all the other ones were, because my dream is to be able to live my life and at the end of it say that it wasn't a waste and I had a good time.
Woo! Round of applause. We love that. We love that. Who else wants to share their dream? And emphasis on like your dream is your dream. Nobody gets to tell you how big your dream is, you know? Who else wants to share their dream? Anyone else? Okay.
Hello, my name is Betsy, and my dream is to help my parents get their papers so they could live their life here and go back home to Mexico. And I would do this by getting good grades and keep studying. Stay in school, kids.
Round of applause for Betsy. Who else wants to share their dream? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
My name is Afari Chavez and I'm from Steinmetz College Prep, and my dream is to be a doctor or a medical field in the Army to help and support the injured soldiers.
Round of applause for her. Okay, well, thank you all so much. I hope my talk today helped you guys think a little bit about your audacity to dream and your ability to make others believe in their dreams. Thank you so much.